Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. And whenever you are tuning into this video, my name is James Porcelli.
Brian Thomas.
And welcome to a very special edition of the Ruthless Talk Podcast. We are back. It's been a minute, but we are here live in the flesh, and we are here to talk some WWE Crown Jewel. We're going to go over the good, the bad, and most definitely the ugly that was the show just yesterday afternoon. So there's a lots to go over. It's a lots to get to. We're not going to waste everybody's time. We're going to jump straight into this review. Before we do such, man, and we want to kind of touch up on this as this kind of happened 2 days ago, a little over 48 hours ago, as there were some releases on WWE's part that happened not too long ago. This was Baron Corbin, Indi Hartwell, and Tegan Nox have all been released from WWE. Now, first things first, and Brian, I'll get to you as I'm sure you have some things to say about this, and we'll jump into Crown Jewel, and we'll get into all of these matches here. My first reaction is that I'm not surprised by any of these names that were mentioned in these releases. I'm not. Now, the one name I will say that I am slightly surprised with is probably Indi Hartwell, because as of late, even though it's not really much, but you see that her and Candice have been doing something in regards to with Bayley and Naomi on SmackDown. They had a tag match that was taped from SmackDown. So you think that they were at least going to maybe be, I guess, added filler to what has been SmackDown over the past several weeks and months now. But let's face it as well, like Indi Hartwell, she hasn't done a thing in regards to being on the main roster, right? She was the NXT Women's Champion, and then she got back into this little said team with Candice LeRae. Candice, she teased a slight heel turn, and they played the story to where, Indi Hartwell wasn't into it, and now she's buying into it, and we thought they were going to maybe do something, and then nothing came about it, unfortunately. And Indi Hartwell is somebody that, I'm not the highest on. I think she's got a lot of talent and a lot to offer, but it's unfortunate that she really wasn't given any type of opportunity. I mean, let's face it. So the name honestly doesn't shock me. And then you have Tegan Nox, right? Tegan Nox, to where her I'm not shocked with, because, and it's not just her talent. Her talent, she's a very good talent. You can argue that she can hang with anybody. But the problem is, man, is her injury history. She's developed a massive injury bug over the last several months to even years within NXT, feuding with Dakota Kai in NXT, with people like Raquel Rodriguez. So it's unfortunate to where a lot of these now new wrestlers, even in NXT, right? People like, again, a Sol Ruca, you got Jordan Grace, you got Roxanne Perez, you got this women's division now with Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. We supposedly think that Becky and Charlotte Flair are going to be back and on their way. Who knows? So you'd think, like, where does a Tegan Nox fit in all of this, right? It's kind of an unfortunate situation for her. And, of course, kind of the similar situation with Indi Hartwell. There has been nothing. Again, just a unfortunate situation to where, you never knew what she could do if she was given something, right? And she was just never given that opportunity, unfortunately, as well. So that name doesn't shock me. And then you have Baron Corbin, to where this dude was given every single gimmick underneath the sun, right? To frickin' a lone wolf, to Constable Corbin, King Corbin, freaking broke ass Corbin, your sister's ass Corbin, right? Happy Corbin, sad Corbin, whatever Corbin you want to name. And it's unfortunate as well that none of them stuck. At least the bum ass Corbin gimmick was at least the best out of all of them, honestly. At least that what connected with fans and was really entertaining, as well as for me personally, I thought that gimmick was the best gimmick of Baron Corbin. But it's unfortunate too, right? I do that also, again, has a place, right? But it's just that nothing just got off the ground with Baron Corbin. And it was questioning of where this dude was going to fit, especially him going back to NXT and trying to find his footing, and now back on the main roster. He was drafted to SmackDown. He was doing something with Apollo Crews and just went absolutely nowhere. And now he's gone. And now he's no longer a part of this company. And again, as much as we feel a certain type of way about these individuals, it sucks for these people. It never is, a pleasant, sighting to see these people lose their jobs and to lose something that they are very passionate in doing and they make a living off of, and, feed their families, put the food on the table. And it sucks, wherever they go, whether it's in wrestling or not, we wish them nothing but the best. And those are pretty much my thoughts, man. Brian, any thoughts about these releases?
Yeah, I'll start with Tegan, just because, I know the least of her, I guess. So I'll just say, sure, best wishes to her, man. She's still fairly young. We'll see her somewhere, I'm sure. Indi Hartwell, yeah, like you said, to me, I guess that was kind of the biggest surprise for me. Because we'll definitely see her down the road somewhere. Who knows
I'm
where,
sure.
but yeah, we'll definitely see her again somewhere. And then Baron Corbin, look, the lone wolf gimmick back in the day, that was good, man.
Yeah.
And I'm trying, just as you started talking about, when he started going, especially that run through, happy Corbin, sad Corbin, broke Corbin, like all that shit. I'm trying to remember when that was. And, I'm not saying this as like just piling on, but just that whole thing to me just screams like Vince McMahon just like throw, and I can't remember if Vince was in there maybe when this whole thing started and maybe out by the end. I can't really remember. But that just screams to me something like Vince was just doing that for like his own personal shits and giggles. And like, yeah, I guess, Baron went out there and did it because he had to, but it got to the point where like you knew like none of these gimmicks were
working.
By the end, it's not even were they working. I don't even think like really like I don't think they ever intended it to work. You know what I mean? Like they kept changing it so often. I don't think they really intended it to.
Yeah.
But I think Baron Corbin does have talent, and he's one of those guys like I don't know if you want to say like a poor man's Dolph Ziggler in a way, where again, like that, where like he had, there was something there with the lone wolf gimmick, and then they went away from that. He had a little bit of success here and there, but it just seems like he was just one of those guys that they're going to throw out there on the mid card. He's going to do what is asked of him and do it pretty well, for what's given to him. And yeah, and that's what it was. So yeah, best wishes to all of them. Again, I'm sure we'll see Indi somewhere. I think she really is talented and young, and she's got hopefully, again, barring injury, got a long future in this business. So yeah, we'll see, man.
Yeah. No, it's funny you mentioned too about Corbin, just to wrap things up. It definitely is hard to where you're constantly switching characters, right? And again, Baron Corbin, I've always stated like he has a place, and it's just unfortunate that nothing, whether it was intended to work or not, it just did not work. And honestly, like, and even the lone wolf, I don't think I give the lone wolf character enough credit to where it did have massive potential. But that bum ass Baron Corbin gimmick, man, where he was broke and he's trying to find, money in this part of town or whatever, like it stuck, and fans were actually like connecting with it, and people were loving it, and like, oh my god, here is an actual character that is connecting with people. Like finally Baron Corbin has found something, and then he goes into that happy Corbin shtick, and then again,
that's why I say it just screams of Vince McMahon of like, hey, I'm gonna give you this gimmick that I don't think is gonna work. I'm making fun of you here, but then Corbin goes out there and gets it over, And then they just start switching, every 3 weeks. Like, you're this Corbin, you're that Corbin. And then it's like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, no,
So that's why I
absolutely.
say, like, I don't know that they ever intended it to work. I really don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, who knows? And yes, that was during the time when Vince McMahon, you can say, was still running things. This is when Vince McMahon was about out the door, was about to uh leave the company, or he was going to retire,
Right.
because it was, of course he was pretty much forced to, of course, under the allegations, right? But yeah, man, it's just, again, regardless, it's an unfortunate situation for everybody involved. That includes Indi Hartwell, and that includes Tegan. So we'll see, man. I mean, who knows? Again, we always talk about, these types of things, to where this is not just, yes, in the moment it's an unfortunate situation, but it could also be a great opportunity to reinvent yourself wherever they choose to. If they do choose to decide to do professional wrestling outside of this, or continuing going into this next calendar year. So we shall see, man. But much love to everybody, of all these people, Indi, Tegan, and Baron Corbin, and we wish them nothing but the best for their future and what they do afterwards moving forward. All right, let's get into Crown Jewel. So let's start off
this whole pay-per-view, man. Or premium live event, whatever.
You're preaching to the choir, bro. There was a lot of baffling shit. Now, of course, I'm gonna try to be as open-minded and as optimistic as I can, because there were at least some good things to kind of take away from the show, which we will talk about. But yes, there were some things to where you scratch your head and you go, what the fuck are we doing? So enough talking about it. Let's actually dive into this. So we start the night off with the Bloodline, this 6-man tag. Now, this was originally supposed to end the show, and then I believe it was switched to where now Cody and Gunther was going to end the show later on, as fighting for this whatever championship, this Crown Jewel championship. Lots to talk about that later. But this was a 6-man tag match. You have the New Bloodline versus the OG Bloodline. At least that's what people are saying. You have Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Jacob Fatu, with Tongalo at ringside. And you have Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, and the OTC, that is Roman Reigns. You had Solo and Roman in the middle of the ring. Roman goes for a spear. Solo counters it, hits the Samoan spike, goes for the cover. Ref makes the count. Jimmy Uso breaks up the count, but the ref accidentally actually counts to 3 when Jimmy breaks up the count. So that was pretty much of a botch there. As Jimmy, I guess you can say, was a little late to break up the count as well. So, but still, the referee counted to 3s, which was a botch on his end, and he ends up getting thrown into by Tama Tonga by Roman Reigns. So you would think that he would remember his own spot. He's like, oh, wait a minute. That's right. I'm supposed to be taken out in this spot, so I shouldn't be counting to 3. But that was very eye-opening. So all hell breaks loose after that when the referee gets knocked down. The match ends up ending with Solo Sikoa hitting the Samoan spike once again onto Roman Reigns. And Solo Sikoa, guys, pins Roman Reigns in the center of the ring, and Solo and this fake-ass bloodline, new bloodline, whatever you want to call it, picks up the W. And then after the match, they're like, we ain't done yet. We want to lay these guys out some more. So they go for the table spot on the outside. Jey tries to interfere. He's trying to defend off, but to no avail. The numbers game is catching up to him. And then Sami Zayn ends up coming out. Sami Zayn ends up coming out face-to-face with the Bloodline and Solo Sikoa. And then Solo, he extends his arms out like, come on in, man. Like, where the right side of this, where the right side of the Bloodline is. Come on now, bring it in. And then Sami Zayn goes in for the hug. Instead, he eats a suplex. He gets a suplex from Solo Sikoa. Or Sami Zayn delivers the suplex to Solo Sikoa. And then Sami tries to defend off the Bloodline, but also to no avail. And then everybody else, though, Roman, Jimmy, Jay, they all end up defending off the bloodline. Solo end up by himself in the center of the ring. He's looking around and he's like, shit, I'm cornered. I'm fucked. And Roman goes for a spear. Solo ends up rolling out of the ring. Sami is going for, I guess, a Halula kick as well at the same exact time. And Sami Zayn inadvertently kicks Roman Reigns' head off, or he freaking stuns him or whatever, but kicks him straight in the face and drops Roman where he stands. And then Solo, he's like with the smirk on his face, like as he sees the friction now coming into play, as like Jimmy's like, dude, why would you do that? What are you doing? Jay is trying to play peacemaker and everything, and Roman Reigns has just got this look on his face, and he's just like, what is going on? Like, I just got pinned by Solo. I got all of this crazy chaos within my family. Like, what is going on? Sami Zayn ended up leaving the ring, and that similar camera shot that you saw at WrestleMania with Cody Rhodes, they did the exact same thing with Sami walking up the rampway, and it's Roman Reigns there and distraught, and he's like, man, I got work to do. I got a lot of work to do to fix this. And that's it, man. So look, man, I'll try to make this brief, man. Listen, the match itself was a 6-man tag. That's all I can really say. There was some good moments in the match with Roman and Jay. There was a lot of good storytelling with Roman and Jay. There's still a massive disconnect there. So I do like that, of telling the story within that. Again, Jacob Fatu is great, man. This dude is flying around the ring like a fucking cruiserweight.
The athlete this guy is, like, holy shit, man.
I mean, bro. Listen, man. If done properly, whenever he does go on his own, bro, dude, I'm telling you, man. Like, the sky's the limit for this dude and for what he has to offer once this whole bloodline story, this whole bloodline situation ends. But Jacob Fatu was a major highlight in this match. But obviously the main takeaway is what happened after the match, right? And again, obviously Solo and them winning this match, it's the right call. I wasn't really a fan of this match being a thing to begin with, because you're already having Survivor Series War Games coming up in a couple of weeks, and you're just going to do the same thing plus another member and fighting in a cage. So I don't know. But Solo and them winning was the right call, obviously. Solo taking or getting the pinfall was really cool. They could make this into a thing, Brian, to where Solo, at least last year, he looked pretty dominant over John Cena, and now here he is pinning Roman Reigns. Like, they can make this into a thing to where in Saudi Arabia, Solo Sikoa is just freaking badass. He's unstoppable, right? Maybe not to like Undertaker at WrestleMania type level, but maybe somewhere in that same hemisphere. Roman Reigns getting pinned. Debatable if that's the right call. I guess it makes sense because Roman is, again, he's kind of on this maybe slight downward spiral to where everything is now, for what he's done over the past 4+ years, and now he's on this downward spiral. He just got pinned by Solo. You got Sami Zayn, who's back into the fold, and he's arguing with his cousins, and he's gotta fix this. He's in this massive rut. He's no longer the tribal chief. He's the OTC, but it's Jimmy that's the only one that's acknowledging him, right? So you got that, and then Sami Zayn being inserted into this. I really did like it, man. Everything that happened afterwards was really, really good. And it makes you question, man, to where there's only one person, Brian, that's going to bring everybody together. And that's the wise man, Paul Heyman, to where he's going to come back to bring everybody together, to get everybody on the same page, and to defend off Solo Sikoa and this bloodline. And shout out to Paul Heyman. I truly feel like he is behind the scenes, the mastermind behind all of this with the bloodline in regards to these types of segments, not just the people that's involved with Roman Reigns and such, but actually what's going on within these segments. I truly believe that Paul Heyman is the mastermind, the blueprint behind all of this behind closed doors. So I just want to give him that praise as well. Even when he's not on TV, he's still cooking behind closed doors and behind backstage. So, but looks, man, at least it gets you intrigued for what's to come with Sami Zayn. You know, you still had that scene on Monday Night Raw to where Sami and Solo were having some conversation, and now it's Jay having mixed emotions, whether he can even trust Sami Zayn now. And now he's got this issue with Roman. So it's interesting how they're going to continue to tell this, right? It's all about executing of how they bring everybody together at the same page to get to War Games and to fight off against Solo and the Bloodline. So the match was a match, but after the match, at least it got people talking and some intrigue, slight intrigue, maybe not great, but I thought it was good for what the main takeaway was. So Brian, what are your thoughts, man, in regards to this six-man tag?
Well, let me first say, like, my overall takeaway of just this whole pay-per-view and the reason why it's just kind of so, like, really I didn't like much about it is because the whole thing is just, and like this pay-per-view, if we're being honest, didn't even need to happen. Like, none of the matches. And it's really just for the photo op of Liv and Cody winning the titles and, you know, having and introducing this new pretty title. I mean, so the whole premise is just like, you know, I'm not really into it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I mean, if I'm honest, dude, this the way I see this whole bloodline thing working out, and now Sammy, like, I fucking hate it, like 100%. Like, if you were gonna involve Sammy in this, right, then I feel like he should have been a part of this match if here in Saudi and do it this way. Because again, you know, we're going to Survivor Series. You know that's going to happen. Look, I mean, Sammy, he wasn't a part of the original bloodline. He came in afterwards and then was, you know, kind of made, you know, the honorary use and whatever. And so now the idea that, okay, so Jimmy, Jay, and Roman can't get this done on their own, but now we got Sami Zayn, and now we can beat the Bloodline. Nah, bro, no. So yeah, it's just like that is like, what the fuck are we doing? And I like your idea about Heyman, and yeah, I think he's going to play a big part of this, but his part is going to be getting all of them on the same page, into which you're still coming back around to. Okay, so they had this six-man tag at Saudi and they lost. Now they're going into a bigger, you know, dangerous, more badass match. And now, hey, we got Sami Zayn, so we're gonna beat this bloodline. Like, I mean, I've just been saying it for months. Like, this should just be bloodline on bloodline. If you wanted to add Sami, then he should have been added here in this Saudi show and not in the War Games match, and in any, whether, because now we're back to, and it's not even a thing against Sammy, but now we're back to, you know, there's going to be obviously beef now between him and Roman, and you've seen him and Solo talking. So now Sammy is becoming the center point of a bloodline story. Like, what the fuck? So yeah, I just I'm not on board with it. I think they're kind of like doing it backwards here. I don't think Sammy's really needed at all. But that's what they're gonna do. And I just, yeah, man, just I mean, I would assume that, you know, at War Games, you know, Roman and Jimmy and Jay and I guess Sammy are gonna be victorious. And I don't know, man. It's again, this should be bloodline on bloodline, and to have Sammy being that like key ingredient, like, come on, man. Nah.
I said the same. I said the same thing about Monday Night Raw. I said this in a TikTok and also an Instagram post. Like, this was on Monday Night Raw, and then Jimmy and Jay had this promo, this face-off promo, and then the Bloodline comes out. And the Bloodline just they look like absolute schmucks, to where it's 2-on-4. It's 2-on-4, and yet the Bloodline is getting retreated by the Usos, two individuals. So it's just like, why do you even need Roman and Sami Zayn anyway? If you're already retreating Jacob Fatu, the Gorillas of Destiny, and so like, what the fuck? Like, what are we doing here? I don't understand how that's making this Bloodline faction looks like. Who needs Roman? You just send off the Bloodline just like that in the snap of a finger. So yeah, I mean,
I mean, so my positives to that. I mean, Fatu, Jacob Fatu, that dude's
yeah.
fucking great. Yeah,
Yes.
that's awesome. And again, I just it's there's moments and there's elements of the story that I'm gonna like,
Yeah.
but it seems like this is where we're going, and for it to kind of hinge on Sami Zayn, it just what? Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, again, I was never a fan of this match even being a thing to begin with
yeah,
because again, you're kind of see the same thing on Survivor Series and everybody's going to bring out the chairs and the kendo sticks and the mini breakaway tables that people have a fucking orgasm over, right? You're going to see all of
and
it.
and you're also in the meantime you're putting Roman and Fatu, like where by the time they have a match or a feud or so, like you're putting them together too much
Too
to
much,
where,
yeah.
yeah, like
No,
it's gonna
absolutely.
lose that luster that we're waiting for, you know?
No, no, you're 100% right about that, and that's again another reason why I just was not a fan
Yeah,
of doing the 6-man tag. It's just like if you want to do war games, fine, and if you want, of course, with Fatu and Roman involved, sure, but like, yeah, like the more you do that now, it's just like, all right, I mean, we've seen them in war games, so like now you're gonna put them in a one-on-one match, like what's gonna be any
yeah,
different outside? Now it's just one-on-one. Like what's gonna be different that we haven't already seen these two come to blows at one another, you know?
yeah.
So absolutely. To end this, man, right? Sami Zayn, to an extent, Brian, I agree with you in regards to Sami Zayn. Like, is he needed for this? No, obviously not. But if there is anybody that makes sense outside of the bloodline to be a part of this, it is Sami Zayn because he was a part of this faction when
Right.
the bloodline was at its peak. And yes, he's not a bloodline member. He wasn't a part of the original bloodline. But I mean, because what are you gonna do? Are you just gonna add in like a Zillafot too, and just another
I mean, I
added?
think that's the way I think they should. Like, I don't know for where they go long term, but again, you're literally talking bloodline of a real fucking family, and with so many people that you can involve. You don't need outsiders like at all.
No, you don't.
So
No,
yeah,
I agree. But if there is one outsider, though, I think it is Sami Zayn that does make
sure,
the most
yeah. I
sense.
mean, he makes the
Anybody
most sense.
else,
Yeah,
absolutely. It's just like, all right, enough. Like we don't need the Kevin Owenses, we don't need the Cody Rhodes, we don't need the Randy Ortons.
and let me say this about Sammy too. Like even with his storyline in it, like yeah, he's got the loyalty to Jay.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, he's got no real beef with. I mean, his beef with Solo and that bloodline again kind of goes back to defending Cody Rhodes. Really,
Yeah.
he's got no beef with them. Like, why? Yeah,
Yeah. So, and again, to your point about if he would be a part of this match itself, it's just I think they still want to keep that suspense and like Sammy joining once he does fully rejoin this group, and with Paul
sure.
Heyman coming back, and then you make that first impression with everybody together. I guess more meaningful, but still, then why then why have all of these people still in this matchup to begin with anyway, right? You want Bloodline, OG Bloodline versus New Bloodline to feel like that first impression, to feel like important. Not that it's not going to be important, but that
Mhm.
first impression just it truly matters, man, right? And it's just like so that's the thing is like what's going to be the difference outside of some share shots and throwing people
Yeah,
into the cage and some kendo stick shots, right? And
I
some
think you kind of just summed it. Without summing it up. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head here. They're kind of like because yes, when that happens and Heyman's there and Sammy, the pop is going to be amazing.
yeah.
But so I think they're really sacrificing the story here for the cheap pop. That's kind of what it feels like.
That's fair. No,
Yeah,
that's very very fair. In regards to it, I mean, I want to see where this goes in regards to Sami Zayn because I do truly feel like this can be really good if it's done properly. And I hear where you're coming from, Brian. Everything that you're saying is definitely is valid, absolutely. because, I mean, and I've even said it too, to where, do I need Sami Zayn to be a part of this bloodline? No, trust me. If it was also up to me, if I were to either have Sami Zayn in this story or not, I wouldn't have him. Trust me.
Yeah.
I've even said that before. But if that is your only option that's outside of this family that's related or whatever the case may be, then I'll be like, all right, he's been a part of this for 4 years within this team. Like, he's the only person that makes sense. And if you do it right, it can still be very special. And again, with The Rock that's still looming after this, who knows? Here's what I'm also going to say, Brian. I'll end it with this. I know we're going on for a long time with this, as we'll get to the women's matchup. Is it odd, Brian, that ever since Bad Blood, when The Rock made his return and he made his appearance, do you find it weird that nobody has acknowledged this fucking guy since he's been back? It's like, seriously, is that fucking weird?
Right.
I don't understand it. Like it was the very first SmackDown, and I even said this in a review. I believe it was a solo show, to where, like, man, that was such a weird missed opportunity, not even mentioning The Rock. He's like, he came back. He was the climactic moment of the show, ending the show. And everybody's acting like he never was even a part of the fucking show.
Right.
So that's where I'm like, and again, I don't know if this has anything to do with, and I think it's still massive bullshit where people think, oh, he's not going to be a part of WrestleMania because of his work schedule or whatever. I think that's massive bullshit. But I don't know if it's just so odd, man, because like if you're not mentioning him, then why did you have him be a part of that ending to that show? I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, everybody's just going about business like he was never on the show. It's just so weird. Like, he's the fucking Rock. I don't understand it. It's
funny you mentioned that, man, because like just literally today, I was just thinking of like random, like I was thinking of that thing, right?
Right.
And didn't at the end, didn't he hold up three, like, three fingers? Or was it just one? It was three, right?
It was, he pointed up 3, 2, 1, and then he lowered his hand down. And then that's when his music hit, and then that's when the show ended.
Okay, well then what I was thinking was totally fucking but then but no, you're right.
Still,
like no, like Roman or Solo, like none of the bloodlines mention him. They don't mention him on commentary. Yeah, right.
Like nothing, bro. It's so weird, man. It's just that part in regards to all of this is what truly baffles me more than anything. Right. So I don't know. I don't know what
I would expect. I mean, do you think we see him at War Games? I mean, I kind of expect to see The Rock there. It's
you would think, man. Because again, I mean, and I don't know, because you would think that they're going to have Roman and Solo one-on-one at some point, and I think when they have that match, that will probably maybe be the match. Maybe it's at Saturday night's main event. I don't know. Probably.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, for a big said pay-per-view like Survivor Series, you would think, The Rock is making an appearance, and that's how we kick things into WrestleMania season, right? Going into Rumble, heading into the holiday season and WrestleMania season. So you would think, in regards to maybe The Rock is showing up. I've talked about Solo, and he was part of he was in a social media post from a fan. A fan was like videotaping from that Bad Blood show, and he was like, oh, it's all part of the plan. So maybe you can dive into that a little bit in regards to The Rock coming back and being behind all this. So I don't know. I think it would be tremendous. I think it'd be great. But I don't know. I really don't know. It's either, because the other option is that I don't know if he'll even show up until Monday Night Raw goes to Netflix, honestly. And that's
what I was thinking about, because I thought he had said 1, 2, 3. And I was like, I don't know, because this was back in October. I was thinking 3 months until Netflix, and that's the next time I'm just pulling shit out of my ass.
Just pull, absolutely, just trying to No, I mean, who knows? I mean, trust me, we can sit here for hours and assume of what that truly means. But so, I think there's 3 options, honestly. I think he either maybe comes back at Survivor Series, he either comes back at Saturday night's main event, or he's going to probably come back when Monday Night Raw goes to Netflix, because they're going to make that show a massive, almost PLE-esque, bro. So it's going to be one of those three options for sure. So, I mean, I'm holding out hope in regards to when this dude comes back, and it's going to be interesting with the whole Cody situation, because he mentioned like he was coming after Cody when he comes back. That's what he said. So, and that's why, at least with Orton, we talk about Orton and Cody. It's just like you got to have that at WrestleMania, but then you have that statement from Rock, and you're thinking it's going to be Cody and Rock. And hopefully, for the love of God, it's not a triple threat. No, please, for the love of God, no. Oh my God, no. But anyway, but overall, I thought this was a decent way to start. Nothing great or spectacular, but I do like the friction and the storytelling within Sami and the Bloodline, and the storytelling with Roman and Jey Uso, because they're still not on the same page. So the match was the match, but everything afterwards, at least what we're going to get later on in this show, Brian, I'll fucking take it, honestly. So, all right, let's move on, man. Let's move on to the women's matchup. This is the definition of I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with my women's division, so let me throw every single women's tag team that I have and place them in this matchup. This was a fatal four-way match. You have Damage Control, you have Meta Girls, which is Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend, you have Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, and you have Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Now, I'll give these ladies props, man, for what this matchup was. All these ladies did their thing. I mean, we forget because of how poorly this women's division has been booked. These women are damn good, man. In their own way, they're really good. Everybody did their thing in this matchup. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a circus, right? It's the booking of the match. It's nobody truly gained anything outside of a really good performance and reminding you how talented these ladies are. Chelsea Green was fantastic. She's trying to do this moonsault, and she ends up just doing a regular like dive bomb, and she gets caught by Piper Niven, and then she ends up Piper Niven ends up doing like a a splash from like the second rope, and then ends up hitting Chelsea Green, and like Piper Niven's like, oh snap, what did I do? And Chelsea selling the shit out of it. I thought it was absolutely fucking gold. But when it was all said and done, it's no shocker, Bianca and Jade Cargill win this match via Doomsday Device. That's their tag team finisher for the W. And they retain their championships. Now, again, man, going into this match, I didn't care for it at all, because it's unfortunate, man. The booking of this, not just the tag division, man, but the women's division, it just sucks. I can't say it any other way. It just flat out sucks. But all of these ladies, for what they were given in such a short amount of time, they did their thing in regards to maybe 10 some odd minutes. You know, you're trying to go out there and hit all of your spots and do the best you can. And it's a schmaz, it's a circus. But overall, all these ladies did their thing. And I give major props to them. And now I just need Triple H and Suits and Ties to give these freaking people something. Build a tag division, build a women's division that truly makes us care about what these ladies are doing. Because if not, man, this women's division and this tag division especially is not going anywhere. But Bianca and Jade winning, it's the right call. You're not going to have these ladies lose in another schmaz match like you did back at what was it? Was it Bash in Berlin? No, it was what was it? They lost to Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. What was the name of that pay-per-view? Clash at the Castle. They lost at. So you can't have these ladies once again lose this match. And you know, with Jade Cargill, you know, and again, I 100% believe she is going to continue to improve, especially working with Bianca and being in this tag team. And I think she's going to do fine. And again, she doesn't even need to do much in regards to in-ring performance, right? She's a woman that can just put a boot in your face, do some clotheslines, some power slams, and you're fucking good. It's fucking Jade Cargill. But the more that this tag team goes on I'm sure is a sign that they still want to do a lot more with Jade Cargill behind the scenes to finally book her as such as a solo competitor. Maybe with a feud with Bianca, who knows? But those are my thoughts, man. Brian, what are your takes in regards to this fatal 4-way matchup with these ladies?
Yeah, really just two takeaways. And, like I said, just because of my overall thoughts, really, of the pay-per-view itself, I'm not shitting you when I say, for me, the person who stole the show was Chelsea fucking Green, man.
Yes. Yes.
Her selling, I mean, 90% of the time she was getting her ass kicked, but her selling in every moment she was in,
Yes.
that it was fucking beautiful, man. It really
Absolutely.
was.
Yes.
So shout out to Chelsea Green. I'm not shitting you, man. I really, for me, when I think of what I was most entertained by throughout the night, it was her. And the second thing is the Doomsday device, and if they are finally going to lean into kind of booking them, like I said, much like a Road Warrior-esque tag team of a female division. So if that's a sign, I'm on board with it. Because here's the thing, like if you're going to do that and really, again, it's all based on me putting faith in them booking the women's division. But if you're going to do that and build up the women's division to some degree, while also letting Bianca and Jade stick together a while longer and become that real, like a true dominant tag team, really, not just like two individuals thrown together, but a fucking dominant tag team with a tag team finishing move, like the Doomsday device. Hello. Yeah, if you're going to do that and lean into it, then yeah, give them some time and let them cook and really do this, man.
Yeah.
But if it's going to be kind of this lukewarm thing, then just fucking end it now, dude.
Just build a tag division around these ladies, man. Like a true fucking division. So I mean, yeah, like we've said it since day one about this tag team, man. Like what you can do, like building a tag division around these two ladies, at least for the time being, to help Jade Cargill improve.
Yeah.
As well as, again, we've said it back then about getting Bianca Belair away from the main title picture, right?
Yep.
So, but it's unfortunate. It's just that because they're not doing that, it doesn't feel that way, and that's the unfortunate thing. So yeah, but I 100% agree with you too. Again, Chelsea Green is fantastic. I don't know why the fuck we don't do much more for this woman. And again, she plays the comedy role so well, right? And I don't mind her.
I think she might have even, again, like a fucking like a Dolph Ziggler or something. Like she does it so well.
Yeah.
That, I mean, has she pigeonholed herself to like, yeah, we're just throwing you in these things because you fucking, I mean, she nails it.
Does she? Yeah, bro. She nails everything that this woman has touched since she's been in this gimmick. When she returned at Royal Rumble, dude, she's hit fucking home run every single opportunity she gets. And it's just, yes, it's, she's a part of this role. She's not meant to be a serious in-ring performer.
Right.
But man, the more steam that this woman gets, it's just like, when do you just say fuck it and just like, you know what, we're going to give this woman the ball and we're going to see what she can do with it. And you could still add that type of personality to her to where, she can still be like that comedic shtick, but then you also have that other hidden layer in her to where she is being taken somewhat serious, to where you see her as a champion. It's not just like, I guess, looked upon as a comedic act or joke or whatever,
Right.
Because I mean, as flawlessly as she does that, man, we're at a point to where, like, man, she is the main bright spot. As poorly as this women's division has been booked, she has been the main bright spot in this women's division. She continues for what WWE gives her. She fucking nails it. You have her and maybe a handful of people. Tiffany Stratton,
her and what's her name? Just the last a couple weeks ago with the dumpster match.
Oh, Michin. Yeah. Like the dumpster match, bro. Like that's something, bro. Like if Vince McMahon were to book that shit, we would fucking rip it apart because of, like. But it's the fact that it's Chelsea Green. Right. And again, the vignette that she did, like, preparing for the dumpster match and calling out Michin and cutting that vignette. And then I would have done a lot more with that match, by the way. I would have done like something back, like I would have done it like in the back alley, like have them brawl, maybe like in a cinematic type of way to make it much more interesting. But they decided to do it in the ring. I'm like, whatever. It was still pretty damn good for what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like, dude, at some point, man, like, if you're Triple H and your suits and ties, like you watch her perform and it's just like, man, like when do we pull the trigger, man, and really do something with her more than just being the comedic act in the women's division. But yeah, much love to her, man. She, like you said, was the highlight of this match. And again, everyone else did their part as well. I can't knock, people like even Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend, especially Io Sky and Kairi Sane.
Oh,
love those women.
Fucking Io too. Yep.
Io, absolutely. And of course, as well as your champs, Jade, Cargill, and Bianca. So everybody, it's unfortunate, man. I hate these types of matches, man. I hate when we just throw every single, it just screams that you don't know what you're doing or you just don't care. So let's just throw all these, that's just what it comes across. And until it changes, that's just the narrative of it. That's just how it is. And that's pretty much it. So, I mean, them winning is the right call. Jade Jade Cargill and Bianca. The question is now, like, what are you doing now with all of these ladies involved? Because you already did with Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson the match. You've already done Damage Control. Damage Control's booking has been fucking horrible. I don't know what we're doing with these. Like Pure Fusion Collective, right? What are we doing with those ladies? I've not seen those ladies in freaking weeks. And those are the ladies that took out Damage Control. Yeah. And now they're in this face role, and they've already fought for the tag titles. They lost. They just lost again. Like, what are we doing now with Damage Control? Like, it seems to me it's just like they're holding out hope for maybe when Dakota Kai and Asuka come back, probably. Yeah. And that's probably what they're doing. But still, man, then like get creative, man. Like have something to still make these ladies stand out. It's Kairi Sane and Io Sky, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent here, but still. It's on one end, I just was flawed with the performance from everybody. Everybody did a really good job, but the booking aspect is just, it's matches like this that I can't stand, man. I just can't stand it. Yep. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to our next matchup. We have Seth frickin' Rollins against Big Bronsn Reed. This match was also around the 10 to 12 minute mark in this match. So Bronsn Reed, he's making his way to the ring. Rollins says, fuck it, I ain't even waiting for you to get into the freaking ring. I'm just going to attack you at the rampway. They start brawling each other at the rampway. Punches, kicks are thrown. Finally, the bell rings, and we get this matchup underway. Rollins hits a stomp, goes for the cover. Bronsn Reed kicks out. Later on in this match overall, by the way, I thought was actually pretty also darn good for what these two were able to do. The psychology of the match too, like freaking Bronsn Reed, it's like slapping Seth Rollins in the face when he's down and out. He's like, Seth Rollins is screaming at him like, you should have got rid of me when you had the chance or whatever. And like he slaps him back, and it just pisses off Bronsn Reed. You see the look on his face. I thought that was really good, man. I really thought these two gelled very well in this match. Towards the end, Seth Rollins hits a stomp on the outside to Bronsn Reed onto some steel steps. So he hits the steel step stomp on the outside, rolls him back into the ring. Then he hits another stomp, but from the top rope. He jumps off the top rope, hits another stomp to Bronsn Reed through the canvas, then goes to the cover. 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins wins this matchup, man. A lot of people thought that Bronsn would be the one to go over here, which is also from yours truly as well. But they decided to go Seth Rollins, man. Now, after the matchup, this was pretty darn cool. You had Bronsn Reed just like, he's getting back up as Seth Rollins is leaving the ring. He's like, all right, I'm done. Cool. I just took out Bronsn. All right, now we're done. But Bronsn Reed gets back up on his feet. Seth Rollins' face. Listen, I talk about Seth and this shtick and this gimmick, but Seth Rollins is still a damn good performer. He's looking at Bronsn Reed, and you can hear him mouth the words. He's like, the fuck is wrong with you? I thought it was great. And then like Bronsn Reed,
it was.
And he's like, he's begging for Rollins to come back into the ring, but he knows he's got nothing left. So I'm not going to chase after you because I'm dead ass tired, but I want you to get into the ring. And Rollins is like, all right, but on another time, I'm just going to walk up the rampway. So I thought the chemistry within the psychology of this match was really, really good, man. Now, Bronson Reed losing this match. Here's what I'll say, right? I do love how Bronson Reed was protected in this matchup. With the stomp, he didn't lose simplistically. So on that end, I appreciate and I do like a lot. But there's an argument, man, with Bronson Reed. Like, he needed this victory just a little bit more, man, you know? And I don't know, Brian, if this has anything to do with maybe a future feud with Seth and Punk, maybe for the world championship. I don't know. To where, like, you can't just now have Seth Rollins go on this massive losing streak if he's going to eventually face Punk in a feud, whether it's if it is for the world championship, but if it's not, if it's just Seth Rollins and Punk, then shoot, give Bronson Reed this victory, right? He needs this more than anything. So on one end, I'm mixed about this, right? Like, on one end, I would have really liked more personally if Bronson Reed would have won this match. And clearly this feud is not over. They're going to stretch this out to probably Survivor Series, maybe at, honestly, Saturday night's main event. They'll probably maybe do something like that, maybe in a stipulation type of a match, probably maybe a last man standing or some type of street fight. Who knows? But clearly this is continuing, so I'm sure they're going to still give Bronson Reed this big culminating victory. So I'm not going to harp too much about it because I want to be fair and open-minded that Bronson Reed still looked pretty darn good in this matchup, even in defeat. It sucks that he didn't win the match because he needs this momentum now more than ever if you're going to give Bronson Reed this rocket. Sure. But if you're going to book him like that in this match and just how good the matchup was in his chemistry with Seth, I don't think there was any harm in regards to Bronson Reed at all. If there was any, it wasn't a lot from what I at least watched. So, Brian, what are your thoughts, man? Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good match, and I was probably leaning more Bronson winning that match, if I'm being honest. While it was good, and this is going to continue at least for a little bit. And again, I think it's great for Bronson. I mean, it is getting him in a maybe not the main event, picture right now, but he's getting there.
Yeah.
But really, my thing is with Seth, man. It just, I don't know. I guess we're still really doing this gimmick, and this is what it is.
Yeah.
And then just specifically with this feud, it's like it's Seth's whole gimmick, his character, his finishing maneuver. It's like this whole feud. You know how this is going to end? Seth is going to have to do a super mega impossible stomp. Like that's how it ends. And it's just So that's my like. It's just like, all right, guys, come on. Like, what are you really going to do? Like, Seth is going to have to stomp him 7 times, or he stomped him from jumping off the platform, and now he's going to have to go up higher. Yeah, it's just okay.
Yeah.
And so that's, it's good for Bronson that he's getting, more shine and getting there. But at the same time for Seth, it's just like, oh, this is, it's going, it doesn't, I don't know. It's not, I don't feel like it's really going anywhere,
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've even said it before, man. Like, I mean, it's weird because, and I'll end it with this because I do want to get to the women's matchup, but you notice, Brian, like with these brawl segments that they've been doing recently on Monday Night Raw, like, yes, it has a place with brawling, right? But this has kind of been the MO with Triple H, right? To where we see nonstop brawling to kind of build up a feud, to where you're trying to match that same intensity the way Bronson and Braun Strowman did for weeks upon weeks leading up into their feud. And now you're trying to match that same type of physicality with Seth Rollins. It's just like, all right, like what are we doing? It's just like, there's times to do brawls, but not all the time, man. Like, you got to keep that type of piece in your arsenal, like, somewhat special. It's like, if you see one brawl, you pretty much have seen all of them. And yes, you need brawling and physicality to tell a good story, but it can't be all the time, man. You've got to save that for the right individuals like a Bronson Reed and a Braun Strowman, 2 behemoths. And now you're trying to match that same type of energy and amplification with Seth. it doesn't really fit. Not saying it's bad. It's just kind of devalued. These brawls are kind of being devalued, like how better or how much of it is amplified to what we saw with Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed. So it's weird. So yeah, man, but we'll see how it goes. Listen, I do like for the most part what they're doing with Strowman, and I just hope that they continue this. I'm sure eventually Bronson Reed, excuse me.
Yeah.
It's late as fuck, guys. It's a Sunday night.
I got you.
But Bronson Reed, yes, thank you, Brian, for correcting me. Bronson Reed, man, I really do like how they've been booking this dude as of late, giving him an opportunity. Like, hey, we're gonna give you this rocket. Let's see what you could do with it, kid. Let's see if you're gonna sink or you're gonna swim. You know, which one is it gonna be? So we'll see in regards to just where it goes, man. Obviously, this is going to continue. I just hope that we just don't get more and more and more fucking brawling, because again, if you see one brawl segment, you fucking seen them all. So, all right, let's get to the women, man. So, this is a doozy one. You have Nia Jax versus Liv Morgan. So this is for the Women's Crown Jewel Championship. You had Tiffy Time come out in this matchup. She's looking to cash in her briefcase. Nia Jax is confronting her like, stop, I want you to stay in the back. Like, get out of here. I don't want you here. Morgan ends up hitting Jax with a baseball slide. So now there's all this chaos going on now that Tiffany Stratton is now a part of this. I believe she ended up getting cornered by Raquel and Liv Morgan at one point in this matchup on the outside as well. She ended up going up the rampway, Tiffany Stratton, but then she kind of disobeyed Nia Jax's orders. She was walking back down the rampway to look to cash in her briefcase for this matchup. So Nia Jax, it's pretty much not even 3-on-1, 4-on-1, because Tiffany Stratton is not really being the best help either right now.
Right.
So it's technically 4-on-1. So Nia Jax, she hits her leg drop. She goes up onto the middle rope. Dominic Mysterio slides in the briefcase to cause a distraction. Raquel Rodriguez knocks Nia Jax off the top rope. Liv Morgan then, with that distraction, hits the Oblivion, picks up the W, 1, 2, 3, and Liv Morgan wins this match, holding not just her world championship, but this big old shiny Crown Jewel Women's Championship. Triple H is out there, hoisting up her hand, and pyro and fireworks are going off as Liv Morgan celebrates as she is the first ever, I guess, Women's Crown Jewel champion.
Whatever that means.
Whatever the fuck that means, right. I'll try to make this short, man. Look, I'll at least try to. I mean, guys, it's heel versus heel. What do you want me to say, man? I didn't care about this match going into it, and I didn't really give a shit about it afterwards. I truly don't. Much love to Liv Morgan, and much love to Nia Jax. You throw all of these people, guys, in this matchup were all heels, man. It's all heels. Guys, I don't give a shit if it's Saudi. I don't give a shit if it's France. I don't care if it's Australia. I don't care if it's Scotland. You don't just throw all of your fucking heels and just expect people to just connect and just say, oh, heel and another heel? What do I do? It's so odd. Now, again, with that being said, I liked how Nia Jax was also protected. It's pretty much 4-on-1. It's very believable for Liv Morgan to win this match with all the help, including Tiffany Stratton, that was trying to cash in her briefcase.
Right.
That's the only positive I have. This matchup still was not even needed, bro. Why are you throwing two of your heel champions in this match? And how do you expect anybody to connect or anybody to care outside of people in Saudi that will cheer fucking anything to the high heavens, man? I don't fucking know. And that's it, man. Much love to Liv Morgan. The matchup was the match. It's heel versus heel. It did nothing outside of, again, if you're somewhat interested of where maybe Tiffany and Nia Jax go after this, that's fine. I just don't think you needed to do this match to get to that result at all.
Not at all.
What are your thoughts, Brian, in regards to
Yeah, I mean, I don't have many thoughts. I mean, that was photo op number one, and that's one of the reasons why we had this pay-per-view, and that's really enough said about it. I mean, the match, I don't know, but at the same time, and then like like I say that as a fan, and I don't know how if they're even gonna reference this, throughout the year until you get back around to maybe as it's coming up to Saudi next year. Um, but I mean, Liv did seem like really emotional about it. So like I don't know what that was about, and if that's like a sign that hey, like the TKO is behind you, Liv, and and that's hey, great moment for Liv and whatever.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, just the match, the title, all of it. It was just unnecessary.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just I don't know. Again, if you want to get to Tiffany and Nia and that whole spiel, that's fine, man. But like, this is why I can't stand Triple H's booking. It's just like you just does he understand? Like you think like you would think like he would step back for a second. You're like, wait a minute. All of these talents that I have right now, all of my talents are heel characters. I should do something about that because that just doesn't make fucking sense. Listen, Brian, and we've talked about Vince McMahon all the time, right? We've seen bad booking from Vince McMahon. Like for decades, we've seen bad booking. With Triple H, bro, it's just flat out just so fucking dumb and befuddling to throw all your heels in this match. Seriously, right? Yes, there's good things that Triple H does once in a blue moon, but it's shit like this that makes you scratch your head and you go, what's going on? Yeah, it's just, I don't understand it, man. It's just weird. Listen, you want to do this Crown Jewel Championship, fine. You gotta do this in a different way to where you're not throwing all of your heel characters in one segment in one matchup. It's just very weird.
You know what I know we gotta get moving along here.
Yeah.
But just a thought that I had, man, and I think it was in like a video package during Crown Jewel, and maybe even talking about the Crown Jewel Championship when they went back and referenced the NWA Championship, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're comparing it to that, right? Well, the NWA Championship back in the day when the territories were around, like they went to the other territories to defend that title. If you were in a situation and you're, creating this Crown Jewel, but then also, hey, these wrestlers are going around to different territories, i.e., different companies defending this title, then okay, maybe there's some sort of comparison here. But what they're trying to say this is and compare it to is just absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
It's weird, man.
They're gonna get a ring. They're gonna get a shiny ring like they won the fucking Super Bowl, bro. Because they're the top. They're at the cream of the crop in women's wrestling, and
that's and they're like back again, like when Ric Flair or Dusty Rhodes had the NWA title. Like, no, you weren't the best in your territory. You were the best wrestler in the world because you were beating all these people in this territory.
Yeah.
And now in the crowd, okay, you're the best wrestler within the WWE. Okay. I don't know, man.
Yeah. I don't know either, man. Yeah, let's move on before we fucking blow a gasket and our heads are gonna start pounding more and more. Anyway, let's get into not even a match, but just I guess a brawling segment overall, and that was between Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Yeah, the match never even was a thing. This match never even gone underway. Orton and Kevin Owens, they just start brawling. They just start going blow for blow in this matchup. You got referees, you got officials that are trying to break it up. An official got a stunner for good measure. Sean Daivari, who I believe is one of the suits and ties, he tried to interfere. He gets wrecked by Orton, getting tossed into the ring post. There were steel chairs involved. You had, again, officials and everybody involved. Adam Pearce gets involved. He's trying to get into Orton's face. He gets dropped by an RKO. That was a props to Adam Pearce with taking that RKO. He took it pretty well, but he gets dropped by an RKO. I think Nick Aldis was also out there as well too. And they can Owens and KO. Owens and Randy Orton. They continue to brawl through the stage. And then on the staging area, you had Kevin Owens drop an elbow through a breakaway table that was in the staging crowd area. And that was pretty much it, as I guess medics and officials and Adam, or not even Adam Pearce, he's still probably laid out from the fucking RKO. And that was it. That was the segment. So I'll be honest, again, going back to just nonstop brawling within these talents, men. But here's what I will say, and let's all be honest, if anybody's listening, this was a rushed matchup. It just is. Yep. And I even said this in a tweet. I'm like, because everybody was expecting Kevin Owens to win this matchup, right? Because he's potentially going to face Cody Rhodes at some point for that title once again, maybe at Survivor Series or Saturday night's main event. But here was the thing, right? We're going to have Orton take another loss at a PLE. This dude is 0-7 at PLEs this calendar year. Think about that. Since Survivor Series last year till now, he has not won a single PLE. Think about that. This is Randy Orton. So you're telling me he's going to take another L. But the fact that I don't know if he would call it an audible, but they made this decision to not let this match to go on, a way to prolong this. I think it's a really good idea. Now, would I've maybe done something slightly different? Yes, but it's a way to prolong it, and it's a way for nobody has to take a loss in this match to where it's not needed. It's a rushed matchup anyway, and I dig it. I like the decision. I like what they did. I would have done some things different here and there, sure, but I'll take it. So, Brian, what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I guess I kind of agree with you, just because this is where we're here. And, I guess best case scenario, nobody took an L in that match. But, yeah, like you said, it's just really rushed to the point where my whole thing with this, even this matchup to begin with, is, the idea of, okay, so KO has an issue with, again, Cody Rhodes and his deal with the Bloodline. Cool, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But this between Orton and KO really just happened because of a blind elbow from KO, and then Orton attacks him. And then now there's so much animosity just with like that, like where it just doesn't make sense. It's rushed. It's manufactured. I mean, obviously all wrestling is manufactured, but in the midst of telling the story, you're not building the story. You're just, so KO throws an elbow, and all this. They were best friends. They battled the Bloodline, and from one elbow, now it's 0 to 100. Like, what the fuck?
And I don't know if it's because of the attack that happened on SmackDown, to where Kevin Owens, this was like in a backstage segment, and then the camera panned it over to like the parking lot area, and Kevin Owens is beating up Randy Orton. So I don't know if that added tension, I guess, as they're trying to play off because of that. Like, like how
that's what I mean. Like, but all that stemmed from, like, it was just
the elbow,
Orton beat him, and then KO attacks him outside.
I don't know, man. Again, and then that's where, again, we talk about with Orton, right? It's just, this whole situation is kind of weird with Kevin Owens and Orton, which is still why, like, I keep saying this for weeks, man. I don't trust Orton. I just think that there's just something going on. But now it's getting weird now, to the point now they're sending each other through a fucking table through the crowd. So I don't know, man. It's just that if this, for some odd reason, is not leading to an Orton turn, man, I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what the fuck we're doing. Because that's whether you guys like it or not, Orton as a diabolical heel, especially to where he's at in his career, it's just where Orton is at his best, man. Absolutely. And again, he plays the face character okay, but sometimes it comes off just very unserious, and it's just not Orton. But it's just the mannerisms and everything. It's just, it doesn't scream Orton. And you have this situation with Cody that's sitting in your lap, and you would think that this is going to evolve into that. But like you said, because now it's getting to a point to where it is getting a little weird. But I guess you can say I'm still trying to hold out hope. But whatever they have planned, at least they're prolonging it to where you're not rushing this matchup now. right? To where maybe you again do this on Survivor Series. Maybe you do this at, again, Saturday night's main event, but then where does that fit Cody Rhodes? So who knows? This can all end up being a fucking nightmare and a disaster. There's no doubt. But at least for not having this matchup, because the more I thought about it, I'm just like, who can lose in this matchup? Because it can't be KO because he just turned heel. And it can't be Orton because he can't lose another fucking PLE, guys. It just can't happen. So for the decision that they made, I'm fine with it. Does that mean it's all going to be chocolate chip cookies and rainbows? Absolutely not. So who the fuck knows, man? So they didn't have this match. I'm fine with it. And now we hold out hope until SmackDown this coming week. So, all right, let's get into this triple threat match, man. This was for the United States Championship. You have Carmelo Hayes, you have Andrade, and you have your United States champion, L.A. Knight. That's right. L.A. Knight, your United States champion. So this matchup, guys, was 8 minutes in length. This wasn't a very long matchup for a triple threat. Not a lot of selling, not a lot of psychology. Everybody's trying to hit their spots all at once. And it was a good performance from everybody involved. But the matchup was a decent matchup, I guess. For a triple threat, I'll give these people credit. It was decent for a triple threat schmaz match. At least there was something on the line to fight for. And LA Knight ends up winning this match via his BFT finisher and gets the pinfall, I believe, over Carmelo Hayes and wins this matchup and defends his championship. So again, it's an 8-minute match, LA Knight wins, which is the right call, by the way.
Sure.
Everybody tried to do the best they could within 6 minutes, which I kind of feel bad for because and this is the thing about wrestling, right? It's where you only have such a limited amount of time and you're trying to hit all these big spots and maneuvers in a match, right? But then you throw psychology and everything else out the window to what Bronsn Reed and Seth Rollins brought earlier on in the night. So the matchup was fine. Again, didn't really care for it going into it because I saw Carmelo Andrade fought for weeks. People are into that. Cool. It's not my cup of tea watching two dudes fight nonstop for weeks. LA Knight's already defeated Andrade. He's already defeated Carmelo. So now your answer is to now throw everybody together. And you got your result for what it was. LA Knight wins. Where do we go from here? I don't know. And to be honest, I don't even know if WWE even fucking knows either. So, Brian, your thoughts, man, about this triple threat United States
match? Mean, I got not many. Entertaining, good match. Hit their spots, awesome. But like you said, dude, I mean, LA Knight has beat both these individuals. They just got through a 7-game series, and now you have this triple threat, like. So, okay, you had this triple threat, and now this has got to be over. I mean, Jesus Christ almighty. Like, what else do you want to do with these three individuals? And you haven't – the thing is, like, you've had these matches and whatever and a 7-match series between Andrade and Carmelo, and there's no real story that's been developed at all between any of these three individuals. None. None.
It's just having them. It's like the same thing they did with Sheamus and Cesaro. It's just like, hey, for 2 months, let's just have y'all just fight one another. Just fight each other. So yeah, man.
I mean, I don't know where they go. Where the next challenger for LA Knight, who that might be. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
But anyway. Let's get to this main event, man. Let's just jump into it. Again, props to LA Knight. He defends the championship.
Yeah.
I don't know where he goes. I guess we'll find out on SmackDown. That's all I can give y'all. But all right, let's get to this main event here. Let's finish this off. We have for the men's Crown Jewel Championship, you have the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, versus your world champion, Gunther. This was the only matchup out of the entire night that went 20 minutes in length. I believe the closest was the Bloodline matchup that went about 16 minutes, I want to say, off the top of my head. So yeah, and I think everything else kind of went into that 10, 11 minute mark-ish. So this was the match that went 20 some odd minutes. End of this matchup, again, good matchup, as we knew it was going to be. It's Cody Rhodes and it's fucking Gunther, right? But end of this match, Cody Rhodes, he goes for his crossroads. Gunther counters it into the sleeper hold. Cody Rhodes, he immediately counters it into a roll-up pinfall and gets the cover for the 1, 2, 3. And Cody Rhodes wins this matchup over Gunther via the awe-inspiring roll-up finish from Cody Rhodes. And after the matchup, again, Triple H comes out. He hands Cody Rhodes that shiny championship. You had Liv Morgan come out there, so now you have both of your champions, your Crown Jewel champions, hoisting up the championships. And then you had Gunther, who comes out. He extends his hand to Cody Rhodes, and he shakes this motherfucker's hand.
Huh?
Yeah. I feel you, man. That was my first thought. Like, what is this shit?
Look, it's late, so I'm going to try to keep this short. Again, the matchup, I'm not going to speak much about the matchup, man. I'm really not. The matchup was fine. The matchup was good. It was really good. Both of these two did their thing. And Cody Rhodes winning this matchup, I had a good feeling he was going to win this match, as he did, especially with Liv Morgan winning the matchup later on. And then, yeah, you know, again, this is, at the end of the day, Brian, this is all about money, right? They have this big deal with Saudi. This is all for the paycheck and the money that Saudi is giving to WWE. So this is what we got, right? But guys, under no circumstance, right? And I get it. Gunther, he's a proud champion. He respects the good fight, right? He respects, you know, individuals that bring the good fight. Okay, you're right. You're 100% correct, no doubt. But guys, Gunther is a heel, right? Think about it. He is a diabolical heel. This is a dude, right, that is a cocky, arrogant, that sits there and will insult your family and yourself and will choke you out while he does it. That's Gunther. That's where Gunther is at its best, right?
Yeah.
And listen, the handshake, man, does it play a part? Yes. But you need to do it when the story calls for it. You don't do we just did this at Bash in Berlin with Randy Orton, right? Orton shakes his hand like, "Oh, you called my family screw-ups and failures. Oh, let me just shake your hand because I respected the fight that you brought to me, man. I respect you. Yeah, I'll see you down the road." What the fuck, man? Like, do we understand how befuddling this shit is, bro? How none of this makes sense? You have Liv Morgan, who's also a heel, shaking Cody Rhodes' hand because you're doing this shit with Saudi and this championship because you're trying to promote this title and this pay-per-view, and you're throwing kayfabe out the window. It's so fucking odd, man. And it pisses me off to where we might as well just be promoting amateur wrestling, bro. Right? It's like like a face and a heel. It's stupid. Like heel versus heels. Like it's more fun than just doing heel versus face. Guys, if there's no face, if there's no fucking heel, then wrestling's done. It's fucking dead. I don't give a shit what anybody says, bro. I don't care if we're in Saudi. I don't care if we're in Scotland. I don't care if we're in frickin' France. I don't care if we're on fucking Mars, bro. You cannot do this inconsistent booking with Gunther. If you are booking him as a heel, book him as such. You can't just have him just shake everybody's hand and expect people to feel like this dude is a true diabolical villain when he's not. He's not, bro. And it's so fucking it's lame, guys. It's a shit ending. It's fucking lame, and I can't stand it. I can't stand it. This is the same company that's booking Braun Breaker supposedly as a heel, and all he does, Brian, is pander to the fucking crowd every week. Where are my dogs at? Where are my dogs in Philly? Where are my dogs in New York? Where are my dogs in Texas? Bro, you're a heel. What the fuck are you doing? Like, can people put their blinders off and look at this shit and go, what are we doing here? We have heels that are pandering to crowds that they're faces. We have heels shaking faces' hands. What's a face and what's a heel, Brian? I don't know. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can go on for hours, but Brian, I want you to get your thoughts in, man. What are your thoughts about this match, if any, and what happened post-match?
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same thoughts, man. I mean, it was a great match. Yeah, I don't know what to say about it because it's just, I mean, the match again, and it was so, even to the point where, like, you know, like Triple H, like I think this is just when he was out there with Liv, and like I think Liv started to go like a different direction than him at first, and we're like, no, we got to turn this way and get this camera shot and the fight.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
it's all a fucking. You're right. Yeah, yeah,
it's just so again unnecessary. Like this whole pay-per-view, like I feel like it sacrificed so many stories and so many potential stories for the sake of photo ops and fireworks and money, you know.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think just in this one pay-per-view, and they're still going to go and tell the stories, yes, but I feel like the Orton and KO thing, you're right, it's rushed. You know, Gunther, you know, shaking hands with Cody at the end. Heels, you know, a whole heel match with Liv and Nia, like all of it. The whole show, like none of the stories really made sense a whole lot. Or you rushed it so much that like you can't go back now and like fix things. You know, it's so I don't know, man. Like overall, like I would have rather him just not have this pay-per-view if I was being honest.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know, man, it's Saudi Arabia, right? We're financially affiliated with them, right? We gotta bring in the championship to advertise everything. We gotta bring in this shiny PLE event for everybody to attend to, and we're gonna collect our money for everybody that's buying the fucking Peacock network. That's all this fucking shit is, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know what this is overall, Brian? You know what it is? And I say this about a lot of these PLEs because of how just average it is. It's a house show. That's what this is, bro.
Well,
if you ever go to a house show,
I was gonna say, like for WWE, like okay, you've established like you're gonna have this PLE every year. Okay, fine. Instead of because you know, like we've said, you know, these are kind of B-level pay-per-views, and especially like this Saudi one, and now you're creating a title around it. This is the most fucking egregious money grab of them all, right? And we all know that.
Yeah.
So if
absolutely.
that is the case, then you know what? Just make it like a wrestle dream. You know, have dream matches. You know, and do that instead of fucking up storylines in the process.
Yeah, and
You know?
ruining kayfabe, bro. Like we got to understand, like we have to. Like, we just love to pull back the curtain with these media scrums, right? And like you said, these money grab type of events and just blur the lines over everything. When you're booking Gunther, a guy like Gunther, who, yes, respects the good fight. He respects the sport and he wants to honor it and everything. But that doesn't mean, bro, his shtick should be shaking everybody's fucking hand. That's not the same Gunther that insulted Bret Hart. Like, hey, Goldberg was my favorite wrestler. That's Gunther, dude. That's fucking great, bro.
Oh,
tap into that. Why do you
actually,
have to?
You know what? I take it back. The highlight of Crown Jewel was the fact that Goldberg was not fucking there.
Right. Right. Oh man. Yeah. God, yeah, that would have. Anyway, I would say a lot about that, but we'll save that for a different day. Yeah, man. Listen, to wrap it up, man, it's a house show. This was a glorified. If you ever been to a house show, a live event, bro, this is what this was, man. Right? That's all this was. It was a very outside of the bloodline and maybe Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax and what they have potentially going on SmackDown. Same with the bloodline.
Yeah.
There was nothing. It was nothing, man. Really nothing at all. Just to promote these shiny belts that aren't even coming back to the U.S. They're staying in fucking Saudi.
Oh, really? No, I
yeah,
didn't even know.
they're not, bro. They're not bringing the titles back. No.
So at no point then are you going to see like Liv or Cody out there.
That's why they have the Super Bowl rings, bro. That's why they're getting, instead of bringing the championship back, they have these shiny.
Get the fuck out! Come on, man. Come on. Do better. Do better, man.
It's just, listen, man. Listen, good for WWE, man.
Yeah.
Listen, to an extent, good for them. They're collecting their fucking money, but it's just like, a lot of us also want to have our cake and eat it too. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But whatever, man. I mean, listen, outside of that, some baffling shit in the show, the good that I will take away from this, because again, I want to be open-minded and we'll wrap things up. I thought Nia Jax was protected very well in this match, in her match with Liv. Bronsn Reed was protected very well in this match, as well as the psychology with Seth. There's a lot of hope with the Bloodline story with Sami Zayn and everybody be involved. We'll see where that goes, and Paul Heyman's potential return. And yeah, the ladies doing their Chelsea Green, bro, and all those ladies doing their thing. LA Knight, I guess, collecting a W in an 8-minute match that was with 3 people involved. It's just unfortunate situation, but LA Knight gets a victory, I guess, if that's a plus for any LA Knight fans. That's it. That's all I really got. And Kevin Owens and Orton, at least a rushed matchup like we talked about. They're at least trying to prolong that into something. What it's going to be, I don't know. But I'm glad that they honestly didn't have the matchup. It just wasn't needed. So at least they kind of, thought of, again, maybe not an audible, but a way to prolong that. So yeah, it's a show. It was a glorified house show that's going to be remembered by not a whole lot of people. And that's really it. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was our full WWE Crown Jewel review. Make sure you guys stay tuned for this coming week. We got Monday Night Raw to talk about. We got SmackDown to talk about. We also got some AEW stuff to talk about as well. Bobby Lashley made his big AEW debut in the matchup, or afterwards with the matchup with Swerve and Shelton Benjamin. So that's getting kicked into high gear. You got Mox in this stable that's really continuing to be presented really well. Mm-hmm. We have new tag champions now in AEW. So there's a lot of AEW stuff to talk about, which we'll get into over the next couple of weeks. I believe Full Gear is coming up in the next couple of weeks as well. So there's a lot to talk about, as well as our Survivor Series roundtable. We have another big roundtable coming up for you guys. It'll be for Survivor Series with a bunch of special guests. So stay tuned for it. And as always, follow us on Instagram and TikTok, our social medias. That is Ruthless_Talk. And make sure you guys check out all of our podcasts. We are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, as well as on YouTube. If you are watching this on YouTube, make sure you click and hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that notification bell so that way you don't miss a single episode. Again, also shout out to everybody for getting us to 1,400 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you guys hitting that follow button, and appreciate you guys joining the community and joining the platform. And of course, as always, stay tuned for more content, baby. Brian, any final thoughts before we end things?
Nah, man, I'm going to keep this short and sweet, man. Just stay fresh, cheese bags.
I love it. That is going to do it for today's episode, everybody. My name is James Porcelli.
I'm Brian Thomas.
Until next time, there will be a next time. Your boys are signing off saying salute.
Peace out.
And take care, everybody. Top guys, out.